Good afternoon. I'm Jim O'Neill. I'm the Forsyth County District Attorney. We have all in this community experienced what can only be described as a senseless tragedy. A young man went to school this week, and he didn't come home to see his family. And especially at this time of year, when so many of us are thinking about what kind of Christmas gifts we're going to get the people that we love, this young man and his family are suffering unimaginable sorrow and pain. What you heard from Detective Sloan from the Sheriff's Department was a summary of what the evidence has been and what they've been able to collect. I'd like to thank the Sheriff's Department. The Sheriff's Department has worked night and day on this case since it occurred with the assistance of the Winston-Salem Police Department. The combined efforts of your two agencies here is remarkable. And I said the other day, when tragedy strikes your community like it has done to ours this week, and we have professional, highly trained law enforcement agencies that are going to work hard and get to the truth of the matter. That's all we can ask for. So we're fortunate. So I'd like to thank just a moment Chief Penn, Sheriff Kimbrough. Your team was outstanding here. So I will tell you that having coached young men in this community for more than 25 years at the high school level, young men get involved in some stupid things and they make some bad decisions. We have no enemy to punish here. We have no friend to reward in terms of this investigation and the decisions to be made in the case. Our only obligation to the family of the decedent and to this community is to pursue the truth and pursue justice on behalf of the young man's family. What we had here in this case, by every piece of evidence that was collected and presented, by every witness that was spoken to. And remember something, folks, we know the video is out there. That tells a snippet of what happened in this case. The interviews tell more information. And you learn during the course of this investigation that these two young men knew each other very well, rode the school bus together, had a conversation that morning, talking to each other. They were friends, which makes this even more of a tragedy. The individual that survived this altercation suffered what we would describe as defensive type wounds on the inside of his hands in an effort to wrestle the knife away from the 16-year-old. If you remember what Detective Sloan told you, the 16-year-old is the one that produced the knife. The 18-year-old tried to wrestle it away from him and had to be treated at the hospital for slice wounds to his hands. During the course of that altercation, both hands are on the knife. The knife comes up and punctures our 16-year-old one time through the sternum and through the heart. I tell you that the video only represents a snippet of what occurred because many people in this community don't understand that the 18-year-old, upon seeing that his friend was stabbed and laying on the ground, tried to render aid, tried to pack the wound and keep pressure on it. The 18-year-old was interviewed by law enforcement while he was recovering from his own injuries. And I can tell you, he cried and cried when he learned that his friend was dead. This was not an intentional act on behalf of the 18-year-old. It was not. There's not a shred of evidence to suggest that this was anything more than an accident. And what does the law tell us about accident? Well, I can tell you that the North Carolina Supreme Court has found over and over again that the defense of accident is triggered in factual situations where a defendant, without premeditation, intent, or culpable negligence, commits acts which bring about the death of another. Our 18-year-old also, of course, under the law, had the right to use self-defense. And the law, again, tells us over and over again, you have the right to defend yourself. And when this knife was produced, he tried to wrestle it away from the 16-year-old. Now, what has come to light during the course of this investigation and been shared with me is that our 18-year-old has now been subjected to threats against himself and his family, which, based upon this investigation and the truth, is totally inappropriate. What happened at North Forsyth this week was an accident. It was unintentional. And I promise you now, we will not tolerate any acts of retaliation or revenge. Police department stands with us. The sheriff stands with us. It will not be accepted. You take that step and threaten this young man or his family, you need to be prepared for the consequences. And they will be harsh. We have said for years that we will protect our school, we will protect our students. And in this particular case, this 18-year-old, whose name I don't even want to throw out there because of what he's been subjected to this week, after the loss of his friend. No revenge and no retaliation. There is no probable cause in this case. No probable cause whatsoever to charge the 18-year-old with any sort of assault or homicide or even a manslaughter. At the end of the day, this is a terrible, terrible accident. And unfortunately, like so many of our murders and loss of life in this community, it can only be described in one word: senseless.